So Courtney, we all want to know the insider secrets to Irvine because, if you're coming from the outside, you just don't know what's going on. So let's give the people what they're looking for.
Yeah, let's make it so that when you come here, you move to Irvine, you can immediately start acting like a local because you know all the secrets. So that's what we're going to talk about right now, so stay tuned. So as you're watching this video, if you think, hey, maybe you have more questions, right? There's more that you need to know about your move coming here to Irvine. If that's the case, you've got to reach out to us because Sean and I are actually licensed real estate agents here in the state of California. And also, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so if you want to know the place where all the locals hang out, so you can meet all the locals and you can feel like a local, you've got to stay to the end because we're not going to give you that info until the end.
It's a little tease.
It's a little teaser. Although, if you watch this channel, you're probably going to know what we're going to talk about. So that's another reason you got to see if you can guess.
So now we all know that the schools in Irvine are very highly ranked. We're not, again, this is not us. This is, check on niche.com.
Yes.
Irvine Unified School District is way up there. I mean, I think it wasn't ranked like 5th nationally or something. I mean, it's...
Well, actually, so we'll say a little bit more about the rankings after we say our little piece, because I do have something to say about that.
Oh, okay. Long story short, very highly ranked, like across the board. A bunch of blue ribbon schools, so there's from elementary, junior high, high school, all of them. Yeah. Again, not all of them, but
No, actually, so if you look at niche.com, I don't think there is a school in Irvine that's not at least an A-. I don't think there's one school.
Wow.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. So again, not us saying it, but yeah. So we all know the schools. Okay, so having said that, the schools have a very good reputation. Let's just put it that way. And so given that, you think, okay, great. I want, we have people reaching out to us all the time going, I want my kids to go to that school, to go to Irvine and do one with the great education, which I totally appreciate and understand. However,
what the locals know.
What locals know is that, it's, there's a dark side to it. Let's just put it that way. Because obviously, as we know,
So it's almost like the schools are too good. Too good.
Too competitive, possibly too good. Yeah.
Too much competition.
Yeah, so within there, I mean, if your child's an overachiever and really wants to do super well, it can be a bit daunting where their whole life is consumed by their academics, not even getting to athletics or other extracurriculars that, like hanging out with family, God forbid, that kind of thing. So it can be a bit tricky. So we've had people want to, leave Irvine to go to somewhere else for that reason. They want a good school. They just don't want this ultra competitive. And of course, we've known plenty of people that have actually moved to Irvine just because hey, you know what? I want my kid to get the best education possible. So it's just one of those things that you just want to go in there with your eyes wide open, just kind of going, okay, just understand that the schools here are very competitive. Just be aware of it.
Yeah, so what I was going to say about the rankings, so niche.com, they actually did rankings of all the top school districts in all of Orange County. And so Irvine surprisingly came in at number 2, not number 1. And I think, this is purely my speculation.
I want to recount.
This is purely my speculation. But because that survey also included user input, so I'm probably speculating that there were some negative stories about the Irvine Unified School.
Yeah, it could be just a little too much.
Yeah, because, we have anecdotally heard stories. Anecdotally, we have some friends. They're in the Irvine Unified School District, and their daughter is same age as our son, and the amount of homework that the daughter gets compared to our son, and they're in the exact same program, just a different school district, is astronomically different to the point that I'm shocked by how much homework.
And I can speak to my own personal experience. When I was in 2nd grade and early into 3rd grade, I was in the Unified School District, and I felt dumb. And then I went to another one, and I felt smart. So there you go.
Okay, so enough about the schools. Okay, so another secret is...
the Great Park.
You want to talk about the Great Park now?
Let's do it.
Okay. The secret is the Great Park isn't that great.
Yeah, if you've watched this channel, you know we've kind of harped on it.
Yeah.
Again, if you didn't know anything about the Great Park, you're going, wow, this is really great.
Judging by the name.
Yeah, it's got, it's huge. And it's really easy to get to because it's just right off the 5 freeway, right by the Irvine Spectrum, actually. It's got tons of fields. It's got, again, actually proper fields too, with stadiums and stuff like that. So it's got a lot of stuff going. However, it was sold to us, when it was, this was
a long time
this is
ago.
a Marine Air Base.
So it was sold to us
El Toro.
like 25 years ago?
Yeah, so Independence Day happened, right? The aliens destroyed El Toro. So like, well, what do we do with this rubble? Well, we could have turned it into an international airport, which was voted 3 times for approval. The last one, the 4th time didn't work out, so South County got its way and turned it into a great park, and it was like deemed, okay, this is going to be like Central Park, New York City.
Yeah, people are going to come from all over the world to come to this park because it's going to be so amazing.
Yes, and so that's what it was sold as. And one, it took forever.
Yeah.
I think they're still developing
they
part
still
of
are.
it.
I just saw an article today, and they're still going to do something else.
Yeah, so it's still it's just been this long, slow process to develop. Now they have done some amazing things. However, it's just that it's one of those things where when it's like overpromise, underdeliver kind of thing. That's what happened, right? It's one, and that's just kind of like left a bitter taste. If you didn't know it going in, you'd be like, oh wow, this is pretty good. Although another little local secret, that blend, the little hot air balloon.
Yeah.
If there's even the slightest breeze, not even a breeze that could carry a kite, you may not be able to go on the hot air balloon because it's just a little too much, even though it's tethered by like 100 strands of rope.
And so this isn't to say that the Great Park isn't great, because for locals, it actually is a great place to go. It's just not a place that's attracting tourists or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so the homes around it are great. I will say the Great Park neighborhood itself is great.
Pretty great, yeah.
Yeah, it is great. It's just the park itself, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. You're not, as a tourist, you're not really going to go to the Great Park itself, because I think when you think of Central Park, you got to go there. Like if you're in New York City, Great Park is really kind of like you said for the locals. In that if you're honestly doing like some sort of organized sport, then it's actually pretty great because you obviously have all these fields and
you have an ice rink there.
Yeah, you have an ice rink. Yeah, you have all this stuff like volleyball, like stadium and all that stuff. So you have all that going on. It's just that to kind of walk around and like just totally like take in the sights with like again when you think of New Central Park, it's just not that.
Yeah. So another thing to know is that the street of Culver. So Irvine has a lot of really large main thoroughfares, whether that's Jamboree, Culver.
Yeah, these are like 8 lanes, possibly 10 lanes across.
Yeah. So Culver itself, one of them, is literally a time warp. Like I think it is a wormhole.
Yeah, we would the difference between literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
This feels literal.
Yeah. So if you do hit the lights, because you basically can go from the 5 freeway to the 405 freeway using Culver, and you'll get there within 1 second.
Or like negative time. I think you
time.
actually got younger driving down Culver. I mean, it's pretty amazing actually. Like how fast it goes. I mean, if you make that first green light and you're gone. It's kind of unbelievable. Like very honestly, like I've had, I've gone that way, and then you've gone like, let's say, on down the 55 freeway.
Yeah.
Just destroyed you.
Oh yeah, by 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was just like, I already ate. I was like, I'm going back home basically. Yeah, it's just it is kind of amazing actually. The Culver just kind of, you're literally going back in time. Yeah,
so this just goes to show the good planning of Irvine, because Irvine is a very populated city. Over how many people are there now? Like 300,000.
About 300,000, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a large city, but for a city of that size in Southern California, which is notorious for horrible traffic, the traffic in Irvine is actually quite good.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that basically one, you're mentioning all the thoroughfares, but also you have the 5 freeway and the 405 freeway, which are 2 of the major freeways in all of Southern California. They both run through Irvine, and in fact intersect at the Irvine Spectrum. So again, it's not good. It's just that we're graded on a curve here because we are in Southern California, which has horrific traffic. But for having horrific traffic, we're the best of a bad lot.
Another local secret, and this is actually something, because Sean actually just sold a house in Irvine, and the person there, his client, she didn't even know about this, which was shocking to me. I mean, they'd lived there for like 20 years. Yeah. But Irvine has a great farmer's market.
Yeah.
The best farmer's market in all of Orange County.
Yeah, for sure. Like was it 200 or 300 vendors? I mean, it's
huge.
Big. Like, and it's again, tons of different stuff. It's not just all like locally sourced food, but I mean, a lot of it is, which is fantastic. So you have a lot of options, a lot of locally grown like produce. Yeah. I mean, in fact, there's this one, I think it's Taiwanese, right? Like
vegetable growers.
They have produce. It's honestly, I don't even know what they're growing it in. It is crazy because these carrots, like for instance, it looks like bugs. I mean, it literally looks like a prop carrot. I've never seen anything like it. But their spinach is fantastic. I mean, really, really good. And actually, there's this strawberry guy. I don't know what he puts in the strawberries, but they're not cheap. but really, really good.
Well, you can also get good fish, meat, a lot.
Grass-fed beef.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff there. And it's at Mariners Church, the parking lot of Mariners Church every Saturday.
Yeah.
So another local secret is that there are high-rises that you can actually live in.
And purchase
in Irvine, which may seem weird because Irvine is famous for being suburbia, right?
Yes, exactly. Irvine is famous for being like single-story or two-story homes, like all, like as far as I can see.
Which mostly it is.
Which mostly this is true. Mostly it is. However, over time we've gotten more like some like mid-rise, 4 stories ish, like condominiums and stuff. And then of course we do have some, not many, but we do have some high-rise towers, which is pretty nice. And if you're interested in high-rise living, if you want to live high-rise, which is kind of big city life, but living in suburbia or Irvine, you got to reach out to us so we can at least point you to different ones, because not all high-rises are created equal. There are some high-rises that are kind of not as convenient as others, I would say, where they're exactly put, if you're, the idea of a high-rise, in my opinion at least, is there's a certain level of walkability, because you park your car in the parking structure and you kind of can walk all over the place. Some of these high-rises kind of aren't great about that, and then other ones are actually fantastic, literally in a shopping center, and you can actually have, you can kind of walk to the grocery store, walk to, the fitness center, that kind of thing, where you can have a bit of that.
So another thing that locals know, and this is anyone who moves to Irvine and stays there for a year or longer, it's that Irvine will make you soft. And the reason why is because Irvine is so nice. There's been so many lists all over the media, all different magazines, all different websites that have ranked Irvine as one of the best places to live in America. And because of that, it does make you soft. Because everything in Irvine is really at your fingertips. So if you go away from Irvine, you find yourself complaining because life isn't perfect. Irvine, it creates this little bubble, basically, where it's so nice, you basically just get used to living this pampered life where you just become very soft.
Yeah, you're kind of like the princess and the pea, right? Basically, you can feel that one little pea over 20 mattresses, because you become so soft. For instance, it's not just things are convenient or the weather is amazing,
which it is.
Which it is, but also it's clean, because you have a lot of HOAs here, which again is another insider secret thing. But so it's pretty clean.
Not
it's
really clean.
Clean. Yeah, it's such funny because when you go to other places, you're like, oh, there's some litter over
You're
there.
like, this
I don't
is
know.
nice. You go to other places this is the nice area of whatever city, and you're like, what?
Oh, I remember when you were in New York City,
yeah, the nice area.
I was just we're in Manhattan. You're think of Manhattan, amazing, because you hear about it. You're like, this is Manhattan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live here. And then once you get used to it, you're like, oh, this is great. But it's just the first impression, Irvine just really messes you up, because curb appeal, Irvine just got that.
Yeah. And then adding on to that, the locals know, because everyone says that, you live in Orange County, you live in a bubble, you never want to leave Orange County. That is true. But when you're in Irvine, it almost becomes like the Irvine bubble, because again, everything is at your fingertips. Everything you could ever want is right there. All the stores, all the restaurants, anything that you could want, all the parks. All the employment. And so you kind of just live in this little bubble. And then I remember when we lived in Irvine, Disneyland was literally, I'm not even kidding you, 15 minutes away from us. And I refused to go there because I was like, but that means I have to leave the bubble. I don't want to do that. Yeah,
it's a bubble within a bubble. And it does, again, it's this, some people, at first you might find it a little bit weird. It's once you're in the bubble and actually lived in the bubble and you've taken in the bubble air, that atmosphere, it's hard, it is very tempting to not want to leave.
Yeah. And speaking of that bubble, what Sean just mentioned is... Another reason why it is a bubble is because you wouldn't think it. If you've never actually visited Irvine, Irvine is a huge job center. It's actually the largest employment center in all of Orange County. There's tons of headquarters here.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that?
Well, yeah, and that's not just so we have headquarters. So Irvine Spectrum is a huge job hub, right?
That's but not just the Spectrum.
Yeah, that's what we get to. The Spectrum is a huge job hub where you have a ton of headquarters located there, but then you also have the airport area, again, and a ton of stuff right there, as far as jobs are concerned. And then you have UC Irvine, which is I think it's the biggest employer within Orange County itself. So you just think of, you typically think of, Irvine as suburbia, just residential, but in fact, it's actually the biggest job center.
So another insider secret is that the weather varies dramatically, and I say this in SoCal wuss quotation marks, depending on where you are. So if you're closer to Newport Beach, the weather is much nicer than if you are farther east. So that's another thing about Irvine making you soft. The weather is so nice in Southern California that if it is off by 5 degrees, you're gonna be complaining. And there is a 5-degree difference depending on where you are.
Yes, as you go east. So if you're west of the 405 freeway, amazing weather. Great, fantastic. As you go between the 405 and the 5 freeways, pretty good still, not too bad. And then as you go east of the 5 freeway, it gets a little toasty. I mean, again,
summer.
This is all relative. We're not, again, we've gotten complaints, people saying it's still really good, and it is. We're just saying, hey, when you're here, you're gonna get you're gonna become a wimp. You're gonna become very sensitive to literally single degree temperature changes.
Yeah.
And so that's where you kind of go, okay, well, west of the 405, you may not need to use your air conditioner as much in the summer. Still gonna use it, but not as much. East of the 5 freeway, you're gonna be using it kind of like all summer long. I mean, let's just be real. Like we were like east of the 5 freeway, and we kind of had it running again. If we were home in the summertime during the day, especially, that was on.
Okay, so another thing you gotta know, this is what the locals know, is that if you are a jaywalker, you better beware, because Irvine is perennially ranked, again, they just got it, as the safest city in America.
Like 16 years ago or 17 now?
I think it's 17 now.
Yeah.
250,000 or greater according to FBI data. It's a very safe city, again, according to FBI data, and that means that, police officers are on the lookout. I mean, I have gotten caught twice for jaywalking, screamed at. I mean, I probably would have gotten a ticket but the police officer knew that I didn't have my license on me because I was out running. But anyways, yeah.
Well, you know what? You're lucky because, like, just down the street, someone rolled a stop sign, and so 10 police cars had to go apprehend this criminal, basically, for rolling a stop sign. Because it is actually kind of ridiculous when you do see like a fender bender traffic accident. How many police cars show up? This is unnecessary. This is way excessive. But again, they really almost don't have anything to do because there is so little crime that I've actually been at City Hall, for I had to get fingerprinted for for real estate stuff, and then I think they got a call for something, and you could just see the police officers so ready to do something. They're probably so bored because there's really nothing. Again, they don't have too much to do. A good problem to have. It's just that, they kind of can focus on the more minor things.
Okay, and another thing that only locals know, and I got this from somewhere on the internet, I don't know where, but someone said
on the interwebs.
Someone said, if you're from Irvine, then the color beige will make you homesick. And what they're referring to is that one of the knocks against Irvine is that every neighborhood looks exactly the same. Every home is a different shade of beige. And in many respects, this is kind of true.
Yeah, it's not completely out of bounds as far as it is based on some truth.
Yeah.
And especially some of these neighborhoods that are kind of that sweet spot of 70s through 90s.
Meaning built in the 70s through 90s.
Yeah, they really subscribe to that whole different shade of beige thing.
Yeah,
so, again, it's just one of those things that, beige is a beautiful color, and they really took it to heart.
Another thing that locals know is that the John Wayne Airport is right there, and it is the best airport of its size I think I've ever been to. So
yeah, and it's deceptively actually serves a lot of passengers because John Wayne Airport is this, what people think of as more like a regional airport. It does go internationally, kind of, sort of, a little bit Canada, a little bit of Mexico, but really mostly, again, domestic stuff. And surprisingly, it only has, I think, 3 terminals, I think, in it. So it's just kind of, given what it kind of has, it packs a punch as far as the amount of passengers that go through John Wayne Airport is kind of incredible. And again, it just runs so efficient. It is so clean. When you think of airports, you kind of think of it's kind of run down around it.
Well, just think of LAX.
Yeah, I mean,
worst airport in the world.
It's not.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're looking at the polar opposite, LAX is just a nightmare. John Wayne Airport's actually pretty smooth. I mean, traffic isn't bad there. It's right off the 405 freeway.
Yeah.
It's just easy to roll through it. And then if you're going through checking, going through security and stuff, that actually runs really smoothly. It's just really, baggage claim. It all runs really smooth. And I mean, again, love John Wayne Airport.
So another thing that locals know is that the beach is very close. I mean, depending on where where you are in Irvine, I mean, obviously if you're pretty far out east, it can take longer to get to the beach.
Like about 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I'd say it's about 15, 20 minutes to the beach.
Yeah.
Which is one of the great things about living not only in Irvine, but Orange County, because the beach is just so close to you no matter where you are.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, so you're talking about like Newport Beach in particular, as well as Laguna actually, because Laguna, like for instance, Quail Hill.
That's a neighborhood in Irvine.
Yeah, that's like kind of like just slightly just off the 405 freeway. And you just take the 133 in, and you're like dumped right into Main, like Main Street and Pacific Coast Highway, and it's only like I think 12 minutes. I mean, so you can get there pretty quickly. And then if you're on that outer edge, that edge where let's say Turtle Rock is or Turtle Ridge and that kind of thing. Yeah, the beach is not that far away at all.
And finally, we've arrived to the end.
Yes.
We're gonna find out what's the local hangout spot.
Ooh, the hip
for
spot.
all the Irvine locals, and not just the Irvine locals, but
South County.
South County is anything south of Irvine.
Yes.
And that is the Irvine Spectrum.
Yes, this is not only is it a job hub, like a huge job hub, but it's actually a huge shopping center. I mean, it is massive. Like I remember seeing this built out in phases. Like the first phase was huge at the time. It had this like huge movie theater and all these other things, and then just kept on growing and growing around. And the parking lot looked like an amusement park parking lot. Like it was massive. Now that thing's pretty much all eaten up by structures. And again, it's got like tons of dining, tons of entertainment, just like tons of stores. Like it's just, again, it's fantastically like situated where again, it's very convenient to get to. It's off the 405 and 5 freeways, like right where they intersect is where this shopping center is. So it's super easy to get to, and it just offers a ton of options.
So that's it. That's our video.
And remember, we are licensed realtors in the state of California, so as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.